This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
Wyoming Sports Talk Today being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. Yes, they are still doing the remodel of the South Greeley Highway address, but it's looking nicer and nicer each and every day. Saw they laid down some cement here recently, but the good news is for you folks on the south side, hey, the Taco John's food truck is serving it up just like they are on KRAE, or if you are on Yellowstone Road, again, you know, Taco John's is all over town. Again, you will find the food truck in the Outlaw Saloon parking lot. Taco John's of Cheyenne, delicious eats all the time. We also want to thank Platte Valley Bank ×2, Rick and the gang over on Vanda High, as well as the corner of College and Pershing, offering all of the banking service you've come to expect, and even more from Platte Valley Bank. Key of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. AJ has got some 20s on the lot that you're really going to like. For example, you'll find the 2020 Soul. How about the 2020 Sorrento? Yes, ready for your inspection, ready for your test drive. Stop on by. See AJ and the crew over at Key of Cheyenne on Nation Way. Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Delrange, right across from Powers Field and Menards. And again, right now on the menu to go with your chicken sandwich and your waffle fries, got to get a bowl of that mac and cheese. And here for a limited time, you can enjoy their frosted caramel coffee over at Ray and Cindy's Place. Chick-fil-A right across from Menards and Powers Field, Windmill, and Delrange. Medicap Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs over on Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse. Open Monday through Saturday. Lennox Auto Body, the Auto and Truck Repair Center, Dunn Avenue, the Auto Glass and Detail Center. Remember, it's not clean until it's Lennox clean over on Pershing Boulevard. First Tier Bank, 1508 Stillwater Avenue, offering some great CD rates right now. Open Monday through Friday. Oh, by the way, co-sponsors of the End of Alzheimer's Walk. That'll be coming up on Saturday, September 28th. Mondello's Pizzeria directly across the street, 1507 Stillwater Avenue. Sweet D in the Greenway Commons. Paisan cuisine at its finest. Working on almost 5 decades of serving delicious Paisan cuisine here. Joe Mondello and the staff invite you to come on by and sample all of the fresh and delicious goodies Mondello's Pizzeria has to offer. 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Sweet D in the Greenway Commons. And it's scoreboard time being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. We'll go first to Nick.
From this past weekend for LCCC athletics, at least on the men's and women's soccer side of things. We'll start on Friday with 2 games against Sheridan College for both the men and women. It was both victories for LCCC in the men's contest. First game, 2-1 for LCCC, and in the women's contest, 6-1 were the finals. So again, 2 victories in. Saturday against July College here in town, both as well, same results for LCCC. On the men's side, they won 6-0, and for the women, they won 4-1. So for LCCC, the men, after getting the weekend sweep, they are 4-3 overall. For LCCC women's soccer, they are 5-0-1 on the season. And do want to remind folks, coming up at least tomorrow, it is Spike Out Polio Night. They're live at the rack for LCCC women's volleyball. They've been at least away for a week. They've had a week to kind of prepare for this matchup coming up tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. In the rack again, Otero Junior College coming to town. And again, it is at Spike Polio Night there at LCCC. Again, all proceeds go to the Rotary, go to that at least polio, at least to find a vaccination, find a cure, get that all at least eradicated from the earth. So again, encourage folks to head on out and go see LCCC volleyball tomorrow night.
Major League Baseball, 2 teams that are hooking up right now, and I'm not making this up, combined have lost 204 times this season. I'm talking about the Baltimore Orioles. They're 49-100 as they're matching up with the 44-104 Motor City Kitties of Detroit. They are playing baseball right now, believe it or not, in Comerica, and they are moving to the bottom of the 5th inning, and the Tigers lead 2-0. Game's getting underway in a little bit. 5:40 for the Padres and the Brewers at Miller Park. We got about the final 13, 14, 15 games left of the season here the last couple of weeks. White Sox Twins at Target Field. 5:45 will be the Nats and the Cardinals at Busch. 6:05 Reds Cubs at Wrigley Field. The Mets making the long trip across from Citi Field to Coors Field. It will be the Metropolitans. Brandon Nimmo will hopefully be in the lineup tonight. It will be the Mets and the Rocks at Coors Field. 6:40 this evening. 7:40 Marlins D-backs at Chase Field. And the Royals will pay a visit to Oakland to face the A's in the Coliseum, with the A's right now holding on to the top wild card position in the American League's Western Division. To the National Football League, Monday Night Football. Wow, could anybody ask for anything better? Yeah, we could. It's the Browns and the Jets tonight from the Meadowlands. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
At Mountain Dew, we say here's to the doers.
The people who know you gotta do what you gotta do.
Who do it big.
Then do it bigger.
Who don't just watch.
So if there's something you want to do,
Here's a little advice.
Grab yourself an ice-cold Mountain Dew.
and get to it.
That's right. Get going.
Get started.
Stand up.
Jump up.
Grab hold of it.
Throw down on it.
Run with it.
Now, right now.
Not tomorrow.
Not next week.
Next month.
Next year,
Work it out.
Grind it out.
get stoked.
Get passionate.
And do it.
Do it till it hurts.
Do it till you can't.
Do it till you've done it.
And most of all, don't ask how other people do it.
Don't ask how you should do it.
Don't ask if it can be done.
Don't ask if it's ever been done.
Because there are those who don't.
And those who do.
At Mountain Dew, we say,
Let's do.
Let's do.
Let's do.
Let's do.
do the do.
You're listening to Cheyenne's new Sports Talk Authority. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today on AM 1480 KRAE.
Welcome to Wyoming Sports Talk Today. A lot of football to discuss. Matter of fact, one game in particular that Nick was at on Saturday. I couldn't make it, but listened to a very good portion of it coming home. But we will start first with the high schools, and
Just looking back at what was week 3, or
Yeah.
at least week 2, game 3 for majority of teams across at least the state of Wyoming. For at least the lower classes, 3, 2, and 1A. It was their second game of the 2019 campaign, for instance, with Burns and Pine Bluffs. We'll go into that. But looking at Class 4A from this past Friday, you had some shakeups. Granted, you had one versus, again, you had the top 4 getting at it against each other. You had number 2 Thunder Basin taking on number 3 Cheyenne East, number 4 Sheridan hosting number 1 Natrona County. So you knew that some of the unbeatens were going to at least pick up their first loss.
fall to their first loss.
There were teams that also, too, were looking for their first win, got it, at least in the battles, like, for instance, our game of Casper, Kelly Walsh, and Cheyenne South. So, but at least, where do we start? There was a lot of
I'll
shakeup.
tell you where we start. It came true what happened over the weekend on Friday. I figured the Cheyenne teams would go 1-2. I did not suspect that Cheyenne Central was going to come away with a lone victory, but we'll talk about that here in
I
a
was going
moment.
to say, you say 1 and 2. I had a feeling that all 3 Cheyenne teams had a good shot of winning. In my opinion, before we got to Friday's game, even with Cheyenne South, Casper Kelly Walsh has not looked impressive at this point in time. Again, got blown out at home against Cheyenne East, struggled against Laramie on the road. Again, now traveling back down to Cheyenne South. Nothing is at least written on the wall that Kelly Walsh should have done what he did Friday night.
Well, and we'll get to that here in just a moment. We did receive a note from a listener, I guess, wondering why and nobody was on the East Thunder Basin game except for the Gillette radio.
Yeah.
Again, to that particular listener and to all of our listeners, and I won't speak on behalf of our competition, but we here at KRAE, we always cover all high schools. And that's South. No, wait a minute. Let me finish. South, Central, and East. We try to get as equal coverage as we can to all 3 high schools. If the situation bears out that we need to move, then we'll move a game.
Which we did last year. Again, that was due to the fact of just trying to work with Casper Kelly Walsh and, again, their athletic department where they didn't want us to be there. So instead, we just went over to Thunder Basin and covered Cheyenne East. So again, we can do that, but when I'm creating the schedules,
we have the flexibility.
We are not tied to Cheyenne Central. We are not tied to Cheyenne East. We're not giving both of those schools coverage. No, it's getting all three coverage because, again, it is equal opportunity for all three high schools here in town. Cannot ignore Cheyenne South.
And win or lose, we're going to be there, and we're gonna live and die with all three of the high schools.
You should be fortunate in this town that you have two entities covering high school sports. Where again, Casper, I see it weekly from Wyo Varsity, the competition to Wyo Preps, where they put up a nice little comical tweet of saying, "Hey, once again, we have no Casper stations covering any games for Natrona and Casper Kelly Walsh. So just be fortunate that, hey, here in the Cap City, we got media entities at least covering and doing stuff for the local high school."
And I do believe there's more radio stations in the city of Casper than there are here in Cheyenne.
Yeah, but they're not covering any of it.
Like I said, that's here nor there. The point is, we scheduled, and matter of fact, Nick wrote up the schedule, correct me if I'm wrong, before Frontier Days, once the schedules were posted by all three high schools?
Yeah, once all that was posted on the Activities Association website, once we got that information, it was quick to it of just breaking down of keeping it even. That's hence the reason why we started out with East, last week with Central, and then this past Friday with South again. 1, 2, 3, all got their looks.
And it's also like our third straight year that we had South and Casper Kelly Walsh, too. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is the third year that we've covered that particular game.
No, again, remember we were supposed to have South at Kelly Walsh, but again, we got dumped out of that game to the AD last year. Again, that was the game that we had to move over to the Thunder Basin and Cheyenne East.
We ended up getting Kelly Walsh against East. That's what it was. All right. Anyway, point being, again, to the listener that wrote in, appreciate you. Again, we'll answer the comments. We're not beating you down or anything like that. We just don't follow one school. I mean, that would be the perfect, perfect world, but we can't do that.
In our eyes, obviously, that game, Thunder Basin and Cheyenne East, is the attractive one, and again, it proved to be one of the more exciting games. But again, it is, to be fair, to give everyone that opportunity of airtime, again, including Cheyenne South. That's just how I go about things. It'll be the same with basketball season as well once we get into high school, covering all three high schools here in town.
And we may have South versus, we'll say, Thunder Basin, and maybe Thunder Basin is great in basketball, and and the games may not be close. Point is, it's the way it falls on the schedule, and that's the way we do things here.
Yeah, again, we are not set to one high school here in town. No, it's us for three other high schools.
Set to is LCCC men's and women's basketball, and that's it.
And we'll post that schedule. I have that all squared away, but we'll post that in the month of October since we got some time to focus on high school football right now.
All right, congratulations to, let's go first on the road, the Lone Road Contest, and that belonging to Cheyenne Central as they shocked me. Did you think they were going to beat Rock Springs?
Yeah, I think they had a good shot at it, and clearly on the road, Rock Springs is the number 5 team ranked in Class 4A at the time. Central had a good shot. Again, what you go off of what we had between Sheridan and Central at Risky, Central looked, again, it's a team that's competing, and it's a team that shows
I felt they
clearly
would be competitive. I agree. I'm not going to argue
it's a team that's clearly moving, at least trending upwards as it goes week by week. You minus what happened up in Thunder Basin. Next week at home, you take on a talented Sheridan team, as we now see, a Sheridan team that struggled. It looked mortal, and Central had its opportunities to win that for at least that contest. But again, on the road against Rock Springs, Central proving that they are getting better and improving week by week. It doesn't surprise me.
Well, the thing with Cheyenne Central, and I might be wrong on this, and we saw this in the game against Sheridan, they have become almost a one-dimensional team. I mean, basically, they are a run-and-shoot type of team. And that's nothing against Labadas, the running back, but, yards are hard to come by with that new offensive line.
Well, again,
but the offensive line's doing a good job on the pass protection.
Again,
allowing McCleary at least to roll out.
McCleary is pretty much, he's used to at least scrambling, and that's what he seems to be more comfortable with. So, again, that offensive line, still young, still developing, and trying to create at least holes for at least to kind of establish that run game. But for Central, again, they're pretty much pass heavy.
Well, and again, this reminds me, and you play to your strengths. And right now, the strength for the Cheyenne Central is the run and shoot offense.
your strengths are targeting pretty much the Storbo twins at that point in time.
And again, too, Andrew Johnson, even the sophomore Talich. So, I mean, let's be real honest. McCleary does spread the football around. But again, for the old Mouse Davis fans years ago, where that's what they used to do, throw the football all the time, and then you ran just to break up the monotony. This is what I'm seeing right now. But it's successful. And you got to be realistic, too. With the Cheyenne Central Indians, Coach Apodaca right now, he is blessed with 4 young men that have great hands, soft hands.
Yeah.
And we're talking, like you said, Brady and Brock Storbo, Andrew Johnson, and Talich, where, again, these guys are they got soft hands and they run good routes. I really am impressed with the routes, and they know too.
I'd say the only issue is more with Talich, where again he's still a young, at least up and coming player for Central. Just needs to clean up things a bit. We saw how many times where he was targeted on that field, missed opportunities for Central. Again, not knowing what he did on the road at Rock Springs without having those stats in front of me. But again, he's not going to call him out as an Achilles heel or something like that. But it is somewhat of a piece that he needs to grow into himself, and he's going to be a dangerous threat when he is older, or at least for the few more seasons as he got, at least that he has remaining under Coach Mike Apodaca.
Well, and you got to remember too, he's making the adjustment from being the backup quarterback last year to strictly a wideout, and again too, it just adds another weapon for the Cheyenne Central Indians. So again, Indians win, and it was 36-29 at Rock Springs, so they moved to 1-2.
Same with Rock Springs, they are 1-2 as well. So,
and that will have key implications too if these teams ended up tied. And then you go head-to-head competition for the playoffs to see where you're at position-wise.
And I'll talk after we go through the whole scoreboard of how I broke down, again, as we do. At least I participate in the Wyoming, at least, polls for Class 4A of deciding who is 1 through 5. I'll give you my thoughts in my top 5 for at least this upcoming Week 3 here, Class 4A.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. They have Campbell County this weekend, don't they?
I do not have that schedule in front of me, so I have no idea at this point in time. But because, again, at least for our contest here on 1480 KRAE coming up this Friday, we will have Cheyenne South once again over at Fighting Bison Stadium. They'll play host to Cheyenne East, the Thunderbirds, so that crosstown battle. 6 o'clock kickoff, 5:30 pregame here on 1480 KRAE 101.1 FM, 1480KRAE.com. And hopefully this time around, we will be able to video live stream on Periscope and the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel. Sorry, as I catch my breath, as it is extremely hot in this building. But again, hopefully we will be able to bring that live stream. We did have issues, not sure if it was with our HDMI cord, with our at least other entities, whether it is the camera. We just ran into technical issues that we were not able to bring that game at least this past Friday. So we have parts on the way. Hopefully they will be the solution to get us back on that video live stream coming up this Friday.
All right, so we move on to our next contest that happened at the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. And the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds, ladies and gentlemen, they coughed up a huge lead in the fourth quarter.
I think they were up by, 2 touchdowns?
They were up 30 to, correct me if I'm wrong, 30-14 over Thunder Basin. And again, there was an errant throw by Graydon Buell that set up a matter of fact, I think it was a 31-yard interception return. And again, you don't. First and foremost, you know it as well as I do. We've covered Thunder Basin, when they first came into play. But the thing with Thunder Basin is they're a good outfit. Coach Pakula, I give him his credit. You just don't leave table scraps for them to take. They're a very opportunistic team, and when they got the interception from Buell, ran it for the touchdown, the momentum shifted just like that, and East was toast.
Well, for Thunder Basin, it's a quality team, it's a talented team, a team that I keep on saying that could be your state champions at the end of 2019. Thunder Basin, again, a team that proves that even down on the road, they can still overcome a big deficit and find a way to at least cause turnovers, take advantage of those plays, step things up, and get it done against a big dog. And again, that big dog was Cheyenne East on the road, where yes, they sneaked away with a 1-point victory, 31-30. Again, on the road against Cheyenne East. So back-to-back, at least years for the Eastside Thunderbirds losing to the Thunder Basin team.
Now, the one thing that we were talking about at our game happened to the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds. Again, discipline. Too many holding calls.
And that's
And
we saw that week zero.
Drive. It kills drive.
We saw that week 0, and that's not a good, at least, sign for Cheyenne East, that it is something that is still plaguing them. Granted, it is early, but you are 3 games into 2019. You should see a lot less. And, again, that'll lead into our contest that we had on Friday night of big issues there at Cheyenne South. But for Cheyenne East, that is something they desperately need to clean up. You might get away with it this Friday against Cheyenne South. It's
not even a matter of
but
getting away with
just,
stuff, Nick. Here's what's going to happen for this weekend. If you think that South is going to beat East, then you're barking up the wrong tree.
No.
The thing for Cheyenne East, what they need to do to come out there is not so much run the score up. What they need to do is work on cadence.
Oh, yeah.
They need to work on consistency offensively. Defensively, they're okay. But when you put the defense in a hole, like the offense did a couple of times, especially late in the game, that's going to, usually the good teams are going to take advantage of it. So for Cheyenne East, and again, I don't know how this game is going to pan out. If I'm making a call to Vegas today, I'm putting it down on Cheyenne East. To be real honest.
Again, nothing against Cheyenne South, but South it is still a young team. It is a team that also, too, is numbers are very down. You looked at across, at least on the sidelines for that contest.
And the injuries that happened on Friday.
Minus the injuries, but even before that, of that contest, you look at what Kelly Walsh brought on its sidelines, traveling down with that team compared to what Cheyenne South suited up. Numbers favored at least the Casper Kelly Walsh Trojans. Cheyenne South is still lacking a lot of numbers there for that football program. And again, the injuries post that Kelly Walsh game did not help anymore. So it is a South team that is right now, it's a team that is kind of depleted early on. And it's a strange thing to say right now, but you could see those numbers slowly just kind of dwindling for the South team. But again, before we at least allude and talk about this Friday's contest, East. Again, unfortunate for Cheyenne South. You're taking on a very upset beast right now,
and you're taking on the third team in your 4-week schedule. That's a top 4 team.
Yeah,
and that's even more tough because again, as we saw against Casper Kelly Walsh, we saw a couple limps off of the field. We also saw one running back, Alex Soto. Take the pads off and had an ice pack around his shoulder.
Well, he had to get his shoulder popped back into place again. We heard that at least yell from him after seeing that by the trainer. So I would assume Soto getting at least a little rehab here this upcoming week, kind of light practice for him. But I would expect him to play coming up this Friday night. So we'll see.
Don't know. Right now, that will be a question.
But anyways,
we'll talk with Dan.
Going back to this past Friday, before we look towards the future, again, a recap. So again, Thunder Basin does get the win on the road, 31-30. Again, Thunder Basin number 2 at the time. Cheyenne East number 3 ranked in Class 4A. Now,
did the better team win though on Friday night?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, in my opinion, Thunder Basin is the best team in Class 4A.
They found a way to win.
Yeah,
so
without
you
a doubt.
You got to give them their due. Absolutely.
Before we go to the other top 5 matchup, instead we'll go and look at some history, or at least a little positive note across the state of Wyoming for at least the little teams that can. Gillette, or at least Campbell County, taking on Laramie. This game went into overtime, but how about for the Gillette Camels getting their first victory? It's their first victory in, about 20 losses in a row?
They had 20 in a row.
20 losses in a row. They got their first victory this past Friday against the Laramie Plainsmen, 48-41 in overtime. So Campbell County at least getting over that schneid, getting over that hump, so to speak, and finally getting that monkey up the back.
What does it tell you? Again, you look at Laramie. Laramie beat Casper Kelly Walsh in week 1.
And again, Laramie traveled up to Gillette for this game.
I understand. So Laramie beats Casper Kelly Walsh week 1. They get defeated by Rock Springs. I'm sorry, week 0. Week 1, they get beat by Rock Springs, and they get beat by Gillette. Now, common opponent thus far not even the common opponent, but Gillette or Campbell County got clobbered by East in week 0.
All right.
So what does that tell you about Laramie? I mean,
did Laramie slip up against, at least on the road against Campbell County? Possibly.
Are they not that good? I mean,
I think all
the win against Casper Kelly Walsh a fluke?
And again, Casper Kelly Walsh still does not impress me of what we saw. That is not a good litmus test of what happened this Friday for the Trojans team. We'll see what happens. You
got to say this, though. They made a change, going back to our game Friday night. Casper Kelly Walsh made the change at quarterback, and the Spillane kid did a really good job, especially on the triple option. He was much faster, and
That's fine, but again, not to be hurtful to Cheyenne South and those players out there, but again, you're taking on a South team that we've argued, and it's something that we'll talk about here live on air, something we discussed after that contest, and something we've brought up for about a couple of years now for Cheyenne South. It's a school that desperately, again, nothing against it, but it should not be playing in Class 4A at this point in time. That we understand that, again, with numbers of that school,
right,
that this is a team that needs to step down a class, without a doubt. And you find someone, whether it is out in Class 3A, the Codys of the world, or, again, looking at a few interclass,
Green River, Evanston,
yes,
they've all gone down to Class 3A.
Yeah, again, it's something that for Cheyenne South, again, Kelly Walsh getting that victory over this Friday still didn't impress me. Kelly Walsh has just as many problems as Cheyenne South does. At least for Laramie, right now, I'd put it as Cheyenne South's probably your dead last team, unfortunately. Right after that,
probably
you're probably flirting with Kelly Walsh and Laramie, but again, Kelly Walsh has beaten Laramie, so I think your second worst team in Class 4A has got to be
Laramie beat Kelly Walsh.
Yeah, that's true too.
So Laramie actually Kelly Walsh tiebreaker over them.
Either way, it's all complicated. But it's still early on.
But again,
Laramie losing to Gillette.
But let's stay on your subject. I mean, you're bouncing all around here. Slow down. Go to class, talking about dropping down a class. And again, this is not like college football going from, FBS, FCS to FBS. This is not anything like this. Dropping from 4A to 3A, this is based on numbers. Kids, again, kids in school. Now, again, like the Green Rivers of the world, they have about 900-plus kids that are going to their school. Obviously, South High has, we'll say, 1,500 kids. But the programs itself are not getting the numbers.
Yeah.
And
again, you saw that this Friday night.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong, and there's nothing embarrassing that they would entertain that thought of dropping down a class. Now, that's for football. But what do you do for basketball? Do you do you're going to have to – you can't just do one sport. You would probably have to do all of the sports.
No, I think that's probably for Cheyenne South, probably the best overall. Even though outside of – you're looking for Cheyenne South – I think girls basketball under Chad DeBryan has a good shot to make some waves. Again, not putting them at the top of Class 4A here in the state of Wyoming for 2019-2020.
But they're a veteran unit.
But they're a team that should improve there, and we'll see what happens under Chad DeBryan. But, again, you look what happened with Jeff Bailey's squad on the boys' side of things. They struggled mightily.
Yeah,
they struggled mightily.
Was left bare last year. But, see, the thing is, too, I think in a case of South, it would keep those student athletes from, quote, jumping to other schools. And again, because no one likes to get beat down. I mean, I understand it. I mean, gosh, you being on a 67-14 beat down with a running clock, that's not what we're doing this for. We're out to, compete. And if we can win, great. That's icing on the cake. But the thing is, getting beat down, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And if you're wanting numbers, well, how are you going to sell the program to those across the street that want to come over and maybe go out?
And we'll talk more about Cheyenne South as we need to take a break, but we'll get in at least one other contest and then just kind of break down the game that we had on Friday between South and Casper Kelly Walsh, get more into our thoughts and what we saw there at that game. But, yes, for Cheyenne South, it is something that, again, numbers need to be bypassed by the Activities Association, by Commissioner Ron Laird, working with the ADs, whether it is Mark Puev working with Chad Whitworth, who does represent Laramie County in the school district side of things. It is something that Cheyenne South desperately needs to look at.
And also, too, they might want to take a look at what happened down south in Loveland a few years back, because Loveland had Loveland High School and had Thompson Valley. And then coming into play was Mountain View. Mountain View was 2 classes down. And again, you got the population base there in Loveland, but they still had Mountain View a couple classes down. I'm not sure yet where Mountain View, if they're up there with the big boys. I think they're still a class below. That's based on enrollment. But the thing is, and again, Loveland and Thompson Valley just continue to grow as well. But the thing is, this definitely should be looked at. And Mark Puev would probably say no, and probably most coaches would say no to us. But let's be realistic here. We need to start getting realistic with these young men and women's future. That, these are student athletes.
You're talking a school that's been in existence for quite some time now, that has gone through majority of its time. It's not seeing the fortunes like a Thunder Basin that just joins in Class 4A and then obviously was fortunate enough to get a lot of the talent to move over to football and basketball to see championships or at least playoff-bound teams. Cheyenne South has not had that fortune. Outside of the men's basketball program, again, a few years ago making it a runner, at least I do believe runner-up in the state at least title game. But other than that, though, South has struggled mightily on its sports where you got a good litmus test of time-wise that this school, it needs help. Well, it needs, again, not so much a crutch, but it's something that 4A is a little bit too much for this school.
And the South Side is growing. There's more and more homes being built, but it's going to take time to develop. So, maybe you look at it down the road that maybe you might pop back into.
But it's not helping when you see some of the, at least of, years beforehand, players or at least big names, whether it's basketball, football, be on these teams, and then next year, they're at Central for whatever reason. They're at East for whatever reason.
I understand.
It is a growing problem where you're seeing those top-level talent jump those lines, so to speak, and join the other high schools here in town.
All right, as Nick mentioned, we need to take a time out. We'll come back. We'll talk about the South Kelly Walsh game. We're back after these words.
At Taco John's, we're blowing up your phone with great deals. Crunching. The only problem is how many there are.
Crunching, 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 crunching.
Sorry, not sorry. Craver Savers from Taco John's.
Crunching.
The best way to get more beef for your buck. Taco John's. Bigger, bolder, better.
So keep your eyes and ears open for the best Craver Savers from your local Taco John's.
Are you looking for a pharmacist who will actually take the time to talk to you? Then come to Medicap Pharmacy. We're dedicated to healthcare only, which means we'll fill your prescription quickly, and then we'll make time to listen, answer your questions, explain your prescriptions, and tell you about possible drug interactions.
Medicap Pharmacy. We'll always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
First Tier Bank is proud to team up again with the Wyoming chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. You're invited to join and participate in the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer event on Saturday, September 28th. Registration begins at 10:30 in the morning at Lions Park at the South Picnic Shelter. For more information, contact Janet Lewis at 307-287-6569 or go online to alz.org/walk to learn more. We'll see you Saturday, September 28th at Lions Park for the Walk to End Alzheimer's, brought to you by the Wyoming chapter of the Alzheimer's Association and First Tier Bank, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender. For almost 30 years, I've had the pleasure to talk about Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service. Hi, this is Larry Proetti with an invitation to bring your vehicle into Cars for service and minor repairs that are done with precision and care. Now, I've known John and his staff for a long time, and when it comes to tune-ups, replacing shocks, fixing fuel pumps, replacing timing chains, working on heating and air conditioning units, or even just a good old-fashioned oil change, I only trust my car when it comes to service to be under the care of Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service. They are a TechNet professional, where their work is covered by a nationwide limited repair warranty that extends across North America for 24 months or 24,000 miles, whichever comes first. For more information, check out technetprofessional.com on the World Wide Web. Shine Auto Repair and Service always goes one step above the rest when it comes to the care of your vehicle. 604 West Lincoln Way in Cheyenne, open Monday through Friday. Call and set up an appointment at 632-0498. The message is simple. Drive sober or get pulled over. If you drink and drive, remember it's illegal and it can cost you your freedom or worse, your life. It's been determined that a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or more can impair you considerably when you are behind the wheel. Financially, it can devastate you if you get arrested. More importantly, it could result in losing a friend or a family member. That price is too high to pay. Call a designated driver after enjoying a night out and get home safe. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds. Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI-FM and 1480 KRAE AM, are just that, local. Serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here, we shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder from KYOI and 1480 KRAE.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, mostly sunny. Expected daytime high of 82 degrees. Partly cloudy for tonight, our low down to 55. For tomorrow, Tuesday, mostly sunny. Look for a daytime high near 77 with a slight chance of showers and afternoon thunderboomers. For Tuesday night, mostly clear, our low down to 47 degrees with a slight chance of showers and evening thunderstorms. And for Wednesday, it's going to be sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 75 degrees.
When it comes to sports talk in Cheyenne, it's a whole new ballgame. Let's play ball! You're listening to Wyoming Sports Talk today, and it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Before we get into the South High game with Casper Kelly Walsh, Natrona was at Homer Scott Field in Sheridan. If you hear some noise in the background, we had to bring a fan in here just to keep Nick cool on the other side.
Well, it's hot in here.
It's like
again, just learning that apparently this side of the building is now the only one that does not have air conditioning. So
we're working on it. I made the call.
I get that. I'm just saying it's just another thing about this building. Whether it's power, whether it's the heat, whether it's the cold, it's always something new out here. So, yeah, don't adjust your TV sets at home as well, too. On the visual side, I was wearing my Vernon Davis 49er jersey, but no, that's a little too much layers for apparently 85 degrees, 90 here in studio with everything running. So, it's
I feel like I'm catching right now, and I don't even have any equipment on.
Again, it's just pretty pathetic.
All right, so anyway.
Either way, again, we did have
the number one team falls. Sheridan defeats Casper Natrona. Now, again, let's not take anything away from this Bronx team, even though Cheyenne Central
they didn't look impressive last year.
No, they made three good stands defensively. I think it was in the third or fourth quarter against Sheridan. I think the fourth quarter where they denied Sheridan a trip into the end zone. Obviously, Coach Mowry from Sheridan went back to the drawing board, cleaned up some stuff. And they're a good defensive unit. I'm not going to take anything away from them. They're pretty good defensively. And, again, you have the Ryan Sessions kid. He's a pretty good, pass catcher. Garrett Kuhn, a good running back. Evidently, they found some chinks in the armor of Casper Natrona. Maybe Casper Natrona's not the big bad guy in the block that we thought they were.
Well, I think Natrona County, it might be a situation that came complacent after the two blowout games that they've had.
Good possibility.
Again, for the Mustangs, just basically getting a little too complacent, a little too kind of lackadaisical on the football field. Didn't, figured that they could cruise against the Sheridan team who, again, in my opinion, did not look impressive. After the first two games of the season, Sheridan looks like they're very beatable. And I still think they are, without a doubt. But, again, for the Sheridan Bronx, again, at home, 31-7, give it up to a little home field advantage up there in Sheridan. It is a tough place to win on that turf up there.
They lose very few times.
Yeah, very rarely. But for Sheridan getting the upset win, as they were number 4 at the time, taking on number 1 Natrona County again, 31-7. Natrona, yes, looks like they are very beatable. But also, too, Sheridan, again, you took down a number 1 team that now brings up a lot of questions. Were they the number 1 team in the state? Again, in my opinion, Natrona was always number 2 right behind Thunder Basin. I still think Thunder Basin, and that's how I went with my voting this week, is I still think Thunder Basin is your number 1 team in Class 4A. Right behind them, you got to give it up because they are undefeated at this point in time, is Sheridan, at least the Sheridan Broncs, who should be number 2. Now, number 3, number 4, picking hairs on that, but I go off of the quality, or at least quote-unquote quality wins at this point, and at least you look at the loss that both teams had. I'd put East at number 3. Again, only 1 point behind Thunder Basin in that battle.
Do you have Cheyenne Central cracking the top 5?
I'd have them at number 5, without a doubt. Yes, Central would be your number 5 team after taking on Rock Springs. I think that the Indians are back at that number 5 spot. Again, we'll see how the voting goes, but that's just how I went. Natrona County would be number 4. But outside of that, again, Sheridan, Thunder Basin, Central, and Gillette getting the wins this past Friday. Going back to our contest that we had here on 1480 KRAE with Casper, Kelly Walsh, traveling down to Cheyenne South. Both teams looking for their first win this past Friday here in Class 4A. Again, Game 3, Week 2. Kelly Walsh, they showed up, without a doubt.
Oh,
they were prepared.
They came to play, and South showed glimpses of what they could do. But, again, here's where you got problems. You have a 5'6" quarterback, sophomore. Barely can see over the line of scrimmage. Barely could. When he's got to throw against 6'2", 6'3" guys along the defensive line, a good. If you're planning on throwing the football, some of them are going to get swatted down.
But again, South is a team that very rarely goes about it. They are a run-first team.
Yeah, they're a run-first.
Again, it is QB option a lot. It's something that for Cheyenne South, minus that height,
right,
it's not really needed per se. They find other ways to kind of work around.
Well, you took out one of your great hands guys, Hunter Scott. You took him out of the tight end position. You moved him to left tackle. Again, a veteran who's about 6'3", 220. And you're trying to pair him up on that left side where they tried to do a lot of run on the left side.
Yeah,
that was a strong side, obviously, for Cheyenne South. Alex Soto, again, as Chris mentioned in the broadcast, the guy is just carved. He's chiseled, but unfortunately, the body breaks or it gets hurt when you get slammed to the turf.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Alex, he got thrown on late in the fourth quarter, or midway through the fourth quarter, he got thrown down and landed just wrong on his shoulder, and that pretty much wrapped up his night.
Yeah, had to pop it back into place. But again, South at that point in time was well out of hand in that contest. But for Casper Kelly Walsh, or at least for that game, the key factor, or at least the player in my mind who kind of shined the best. Again, you'll have to help me with the last name of the QB. Again, Spillane, I do believe.
Yeah,
Spillane. Yeah. He's got talent.
Yeah,
without a doubt. He's a diamond in the rough for Casper Kelly Walsh.
And again, too, running the triple option. So no different than, again, South uses the flex bone, but they use a lot of option. And Spillane is not afraid to keep that ball himself.
He's got an arm, too.
Yeah, he does.
Without a doubt. He can toss that thing. We saw an infamous play that we'll eventually talk about. Again, 47-yard TD. He can air it out, without a doubt. We saw that it was just more so overshooting his target, maybe finding at least. He reminded me a lot of Sean Chambers, where he's got the talent, but he just needs to work on the accuracy. The accuracy is not there yet.
It's not there. Matter of fact, his night, if I look at it, he was 4 of 9 with an interception for 37 yards. But, you look at their running backs. Burkett, pretty doggone good. Usyk was a pretty good running back. But we didn't see much of Anderson. Anderson, the fullback, he carried the ball only 3 times. You had Spillane.
They did fine without.
I know. Spillane, 13 rushes, 118 yards. Burkett, 5 carries, 96 yards. And Usyk, 4 carries for 42 yards. So if you do the math there, they almost had 300 yards of rushing.
So anyways, though, besides all of that stats with Casper Kelly Walsh, again, this is a team that looks very similar to what you see in Laramie with the Wyoming Cowboys, especially with Spillane of who's got the wheels. He does kind of play similar to a Sean Chambers, but again, he's a guy that if they working on the accuracy, the throw strength, get those weapons out there, those specialists to kind of coincide and be those weapons for him, that could be a very scary team in the future. Now this year, no, this is also to what we saw, and Chris had the stats in front of him. He mentioned it a few times. The penalties, and it wasn't just for Cheyenne South; it was for both teams.
It was
abysmal.
This was embarrassing. Again,
you talk about undisciplined for Cheyenne East. Both of these teams are unbelievable.
Cheyenne South, Casper Kelly Walsh. This was embarrassing for both those programs. As many penalties as they had, and again. The one penalty, and I think I mentioned it not about once or about 3 times during the broadcast. You're over the ball. You're a defensive lineman, and you're taught to watch ball. And you're like the middle guard, or you're the tackle in between the guard and the center, and that
ball is again a few feet away from your
and you
face.
are jumping offside. That has got to be the stupidest penalty that one can imagine. And again, in high school, all you have to do is break the plane.
Yeah.
And you're going to get whistled for it. It's not college or the pros where you can bounce back.
And you saw in Friday's game, a lot of those officials were, again, game wasn't delayed. We didn't run into any situation like that. But as the game was getting well out of hand, you saw that refs were trying to swallow the whistle, but it was pretty much of those blatant fouls. And again, a lot of those penalties, I would say pretty damn near close to 100% of those penalties were, sorry, ref, you got to call them because they are just as blatant as hell.
We saw so many of that.
But it was not a pretty game. It was not a very pretty win by Casper Kelly Walsh. Again, both teams have a lot of issues at this point in time.
Well, and Kelly Walsh, too, again, they've not making excuses for them. They've had the easier of the schedule. Laramie, East, and South.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you've only had one. One of the big 4. So your schedule starts picking up. You are going to have Central. You're going to have Thunder Basin. You're going to have Casper Natrona. You're going to have Sheridan. There's four teams right there that can knock the snot out of you.
And we'll see what happens for Rock Springs as well too.
And then you also have Campbell County that is riding high right now.
Yeah.
Just for argument's sake.
Yeah.
So Laramie's they're gonna find the sledding a little tough.
You mean Casper Kelly Walsh?
I mean Casper Kelly Walsh. Excuse me. They're gonna find the sledding a little tough here.
Again, the Trojans 47-8, at least victors over Cheyenne South this past Friday. Again, they moved to 1-2.
It did have a black eye though.
Yeah, without a doubt.
The game had a black eye, and I will say this, and I likened it during the broadcast, and whether I bore you with it or not. We have a written rule. Matter of fact, it's the same way even.
It's not a written rule, but
but it's an unwritten rule even with kids as well. And I'm talking baseball. You get up by a score of 10-0, just for argument's sake, and it's a base hit, station to station. That's the way you go. Even on a wild pitch, you don't even score. You stay station. I could hit a 360-foot shot to the fence.
Granted, in high school ranks regarding your 10-run, there is a 10-run rule, so they do have that mercy rule, so to speak.
But they have.
Yeah, again, you ease up. And again, outside of the baseball thing, as we move on again, as we're here in fall right now, but again.
But let me finish.
In situations like this, or again, hockey. In football, any sport, though,
you back off the pedal.
Yeah,
that's what you do. You take your foot off the gas, and you allow the game to end. You want to. I know you
burn the clock.
I know you got your second stringers in there, but you're handing the ball off. You're handing the ball off. You're handing the ball off. Tick, tick, tick. Clock goes bye. Well, Coach Aaron McKelkey came out with his second, which was his original starting quarterback, brought him in as a second stringer. And again, in his short time that he was in, and I think he came in, in the fourth quarter? Or late in the third quarter? Either way.
In the third.
I mean, the kid chucked up 10 passes.
Yeah.
And he connected for 1 touchdown late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, about 25 seconds remaining in the game, a 47-yard touchdown that put Kelly Walsh up at that point in time pre-PAT. Put him at 46-8. It is a situation that for Casper Kelly Walsh again, for Coach McKelkey, not a classy move.
It was not a classy move. Matter of fact, Coach Gallus,
he's going to learn the hard way. At least now introducing again a guy coming up from Big Piney now to the big time ranks here in Class 4A. You're going to learn that you don't get away with stuff like that, or folks will remember that, especially where. Is this a Casper versus Cheyenne thing outside of Kelly Walsh versus Cheyenne? Who knows if that's what Coach's idea is trying to do, but it is something that Now the state knows.
Well, if that be the case,
rest of Class 4A knows.
If that be the case, then I hope Coach Apodaca goes to Kelly Walsh and knocks the snot out of him.
I hope so too.
And continues on. Keeps McCleary and the Fabulous Four out on the field, and they throw the football all day long.
I really hope so too. And I again, not to speak for Coach Dan Gallis, for AD Mark Puev over at Cheyenne South, but I hope they have reiterated those comments to realizing that Central has them in 2 weeks, which we will have that game as well too, up there in the Oil City for Casper Kelly Walsh versus Cheyenne Central. That hopefully they've relayed that of saying, hey, it's no longer at least a high school thing. It's more of a city of, hey, do it for us, please. Of, again, how they embarrassed us in the unclassy move that they did this past
Well, and also,
Friday.
too, and Coach Gallis, and I applaud what he did, and again, it took a lot.
You saw
he walked out to
he got well past the numbers.
Yeah, he got well past the numbers, held his arms outstretched like, what are you doing?
And you saw a lot of his assistants as well too getting upset,
They were
throwing their
getting
headsets.
ballistic,
It wasn't anything. The interesting thing about what was happening again, of where Kelly Walsh was airing out the ball in the fourth quarter, where they were well ahead, had a large lead over the Cheyenne South team, but were still throwing the ball and basically delaying the inevitable. You had that feeling. You saw the coaches on the south side just get even more upset. You saw, or at least you could kind of hear and feel it next to us in the booth with those coaches that were up top with us, that they were upset about this situation. But outside of that, it was more the adults getting into it than more the student athletes on the field. Now, we saw, at least during that fourth quarter, saw post-game that we, at least in my mind, I was worried that those student athletes were going to kind of take those emotions onto the field, and something was going to kind of brew up there between them. But no, it was class acts on both sides, at least of the student athletes, between Casper and Cheyenne.
But also, too, on the coaching staff side, too, is Coach Gallis went across the field after the game, shook hands. Again,
it was a quick one.
And for him, biting his lip.
Oh, yeah.
And I tip my cap to him, because that's class right there, as opposed to what they did. And matter of fact, I did not see Coach McKelkey, but again, I was looking through the field glasses at the time, so I couldn't see across the way if he was if he was in the line or not. But my point is, again, these are kids. And we've heard that saying how many times, Nick? They're 14, they're 15, they're 16, they're 17, they're 18-year-old kids. You don't need to open a wound and drive, and put a pound of salt in it. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
You won the ball game.
At that point in time, what are you trying to prove?
Yeah, you won the ball game. Get your pizza, get on the bus, and go home. Go to bed.
If anything, for Coach McKelkey, is something that we'll see what it kind of started here in Class 4A, but also to what it has started. That's something for Cheyenne South. You write that down on a big note, at least notepad, or on a chalkboard, or whatever you got out there. You put it on a big old sign, and you use that as fodder for 2019. And for those who remain a part of that South team, when you got to go up to Casper Kelly Walsh next year in 2020, you remind them of what happened and go, hey, remember how they embarrassed you here? Let's do the same thing at their place.
Well, yeah, but you can't teach revenge. You have to.
But again, people are you're human. You're human. You're going to have those emotions.
That's up to the coaching staff. What the coaching staff does.
I'm just saying, you're still going to have emotions.
You're going to have emotions.
Even those teenagers are going to remember that.
But you also got to remember, too, emotions, as we saw in that ball game, not one, not two, not three, but 4 personal foul flags went down. Taunting
by Casper.
So you don't need those extra inconveniences. I disagree with you. What you do is you remind these kids that, hey, they stuck it up our rear end, down here. What we're going to do is we're going to play our game. We're going to beat these guys. Then that's up to me as the coach.
Well, yeah.
Do I continue with Nick Peroetti at quarterback and we're going to throw the football on them, or we're going to, just pound it down their throat?
And in my opinion, I would say if you're Coach Dan Gallis, absolutely. You would have to at that point in time. Now, again, keep it in you do it in fine lines of where you're at least telling your players, hey, don't taunt, don't do anything stupid like this. Play your game, but let's put a whipping on them. Let's do it in front of their home fan of what they just did to us last year here at Cheyenne South. Let's, again, remind them of, hey, be a little bit more classier, treat us with respect once again. And I think that's hopefully a mantra, at least mantra that Cheyenne South carries here in 2019 of, hey, we're not going to let any other team do this to us once again. Kind of stokes a fire, so to speak, in the South High team. But also, too, it's now cannon fodder for 2020 of what's going to happen when these two meet up in Casper Kelly Walsh. But also, too, outside of these two teams, what is going to be the at least implications in Class 4A of other teams learning about what just happened? Again, Casper Kelly Walsh, not an impressive team.
All right, well, let's look at...
You're talking about, again, Casper Kelly Walsh, in my opinion, probably the most undisciplined team in Class 4A.
But look at what has already happened. The Camels, when they split and became, Thunder Basin / Campbell County, teams did not forget what Gillette had done before in the past when they were one high school. So if Coach McKelkey wants to play that kind of football, and again, he's going to probably tell you and me, hey, and I'll probably ask him about it when we go and do that game, but he's going to probably say, hey, these guys are running our offense, they're running our playbook, we didn't change anything, it's their guys that came up, we saw the opening, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be a ton of excuses why they ran the score up. But the point is, the rest of the league, including Cheyenne, is going to say, hey, that, and again, the scuttlebutt will be around. You see the game film too, Nick. You're going to see the game film, and the scuttlebutt is like, why were they doing that?
Yeah, without a doubt.
And what you're going to do is like, hey, I'm not going to take this lying down. You're not going to do that to my team. So, anyway, well, I know we got to move into the next hour here, but for Cheyenne South, it doesn't get any easier this weekend. They got Cheyenne East. This one could be really tough for Coach Gallus. And, again, numbers will play a big part. Don't know exactly, and I'll have to chat with Coach Gallus on the injury situation, but there was a few dings and guys got banged up in that loss. So, again, they got a very, very powerful East team making a short trip to South High this weekend. We're going to take a timeout. We're going to come back with hour number 2 shortly.
Cheyenne Urological has been the cornerstone of urinary care to Cheyenne and its surrounding communities for over 20 years, with doctors Bryant, Everett, Gajewski, and their highly trained staff providing top-quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence. Cheyenne Urological is now offering cutting-edge robotic surgery. So call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131 for compassionate, expert urinary care. That's 635-4131.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
At Platte Valley Bank, we love to see our customers come through the door. Well, we know life can be busy and you don't always have time to come to the bank. That's why we offer user-friendly online and mobile banking products with features such as bill pay, recurring transfers, mobile deposit, and now digital wallet. At Platte Valley Bank, you can manage your money how you want, when you want. Whether you prefer to bank in person, over the phone, or online, Platte Valley Bank makes it easy to take care of your finances.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Relieve your stress. I'm AJ Miller for Kia of Cheyenne. With the new Kia vehicle, you get one of the best warranties in America. The new 2020 Kia Sportage comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. With the 2020 Kia Sportage, you get a new updated exterior, plenty of standard technology, driver-assisted features, and 2 available engines with available all-wheel drive. Come into Kia of Cheyenne. Call 775-0123 or go to KiaofCheyenne.com and we'll make it easy. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or a retailer for details.
Cheyenne's oldest coin dealer and supplier, The Coin Shop, is proud to serve the community since 1982. Trade or sell your gold, silver, and other precious metals. Visit with David and the knowledgeable staff for a fair and honest assessment of your valuables. Located at 510 West Lincoln Way. Call them today at 778-7196 to schedule your personal consultation.
The team at Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Delrange, directly across from Powers Field and Menards, are proud sponsors of the student athletes for the 2019-2020 school year for high school and LCCC. Not only do they support the athletes, but they are ready for your next cater-out event, meeting, or gathering. A special thank you to Chick-fil-A and all they do for 1480 KRAE and our sister station KYOI-FM during the year. For more information, call Chick-fil-A at 638-4444.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, mostly sunny. Expected daytime high of 82 degrees. Partly cloudy for tonight. Our low down to 55. For tomorrow, Tuesday, mostly sunny. Look for a daytime high near 77 with a slight chance of showers and afternoon thunderboomers. For Tuesday night, mostly clear. Our low down to 47 degrees with a slight chance of showers and evening thunderstorms. And for Wednesday, it's going to be sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 75 degrees.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
And welcome to hour number 2 of Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Larry Peroletti, along with Nick Peroletti and you. And, of course, you guys make the program all possible, as well as our fine sponsors. Let's give them a great plug here. Mondello's Pizzeria at 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. And, again, Monday Night Football. So let Joe do the cooking for you. Yes, you don't have to cook. Joe puts Paisan cuisine together for you. Pizzas, strombolis, sandwiches. There you go. Have some sandwiches made by Joe and the crew over there, or even some calzones. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons, open Monday through Sunday. We want to thank First Year Bank right across the street at 51 Stillwater Avenue, open Monday through Friday. Co-sponsors of the Endo Alzheimer's Walk. That'll be coming up on the 28th of September. That'll be taking place in Lions Park. Lennox Auto Body, along with the Auto Glass and Detail Center, both part of Lennox Enterprises, serving our community needs for a quarter century. Founded by Dick Lennox and the tradition carried on by his daughter Heather. And again, the job is always well done by both Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center. Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Del Range, right across from Menards, and Powers Field, where on the menu for a limited time is their frosted caramel coffee. Hopefully on the menu forever will be their mac and cheese. I hear it is a winner. So again, if you are looking for some quick eats for tonight's Monday Night Football game, then you can go use the convenient drive-thru or go on inside and grab some chicken sandwiches along with their delicious waffle fries and a few sodas, and you're good to go. Chick-fil-A, Windmill, and Del Range, again, open Monday through Saturday for 3 squares, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Platte Valley Bank ×2. Banking done the old-fashioned way, done the high-technology way, and you will find Rick and the crew over on Vanda High and at the corner of College and Pershing, open Monday through Friday, Platte Valley Bank. Key of Cheyenne on Nation Way. The 2020 Soul in play. The 2020 Sorrento in play. On the lot, ready for you to kick a few tires and take a test drive over at Key of Cheyenne, along with the 2020 Telluride. The 20s are moving in. The 19s really need to go. So if you are looking for a really good deal, then you see my buddy AJ today over at Key of Cheyenne on Nation Way. And we want to thank Taco John's of Cheyenne, again, with the South Greeley Highway location being remodeled. Want to remind you, as always, the food truck is available right there in the Outlaw Saloon parking lot, and they want to thank the Outlaw Saloon for allowing the food truck to be parked there so our friends on the south side can always enjoy Taco John's goodies. And don't forget, tomorrow, Tuesday, it's Taco Tuesday at Taco John's of Cheyenne. And our program, our scoreboard, is always brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. So we're going to go first to Nick, find out what's happening in his world with the scoreboard for today.
Well, for this past weekend with LCCC action for both men and women's soccer, they were in town for Friday and Saturday. Friday's contest, both against Sheridan College, where both teams, at least for LCCC, got the victories. Men 2-1, For the women, they defeated Sheridan College by a final score. As I take a quick look at 6-1 for LCCC, the women's soccer program. For Saturday's games back at home here in Cheyenne, they were hosting Gillette College, where the men got the victory 6-0, and same for the LCCC women's soccer program. They got a victory of 4-1. So with the 2 wins for both teams, men's soccer, they are 4-3 overall. For LCCC women's soccer, they are 5-0-1 on this season. And who are to mind, folks, coming up tomorrow, as we will talk about it again tomorrow. For LCCC women's volleyball, they will be over at the RAC coming up at 6 o'clock. Again, Tuesday, they will host Otero Junior College. The special thing about tomorrow's game, it is Spike Out Polio Night, where all proceeds of the tickets sold there for that contest will go back to the Rotary Club. And again, that will be towards the fight to end polio across the entire world, to eradicate that disease for once and finally. So, again, go out, go support LCCC women's volleyball, and again, go support a great cause tomorrow night at the RAC.
And let's check in with Major League Baseball. Yes, Major League Baseball winding down. Final couple weeks of the regular season. Here's what's happening. A couple of teams that are, combined 204 losses between them, and the Motor City Kitties of Detroit, who has 104 of those losses, leading the Birds of Baltimore 5-2 as they have wrapped up the 7th inning. Game's getting underway at 5:40. Padres at the Brewers, White Sox at the Twins, Nats and the Cardinals at 5:45. That'll be at Busch. 6:05 game, we'll have the Reds and the Cubs at Wrigley. 6:40, the Mets and the Rocks tonight at Coors Field. Antonio Senzatella will get the call for Bud Black's Rockies. Stephen Matz on the hill for the Mets. And, of course, Brandon Nimmo returning to, close by home. He will be in Denver for this set with the Mets and the Rockies at Coors Field. 7:40 game, we'll have the Marlins and the Diamondbacks at Chase. Royals and the Athletics will be in the Coliseum tonight in Oaktown as they will match up in the late night contest. To the National Football League, Cleveland and the New York Jets tonight from the Meadowlands. That is the featured game for Monday Night Football. Scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Kate.
And we're not just literal taste buds. We're best buds.
And there's nothing that we love more than a
cool,
crisp,
deliciously refreshing Pepsi.
Sure, we live inside your mouth.
But that doesn't mean we don't enjoy the finer things.
Hey, Nate. Pepsi incoming!
Here it comes!
Tastes so good.
Tell me about it.
So,
amazing.
That's what I was thinking.
It's like we share the same mouth, Kate.
Forever and ever, Nate.
Make your taste buds happy and pick up a delicious, refreshing Pepsi.
Got something to say? Then get it off your chest right now. Phone lines are open at 307-514-1071. Make your opinion count and call the show. Wyoming Sports Talk today.
Hour number 2 of Wyoming Sports Talk today. Larry Proetti along with Nick Proetti.
Pretty sure they just cranked on the AC, or it smells like again, it's been a while for the AC, or again, it smells almost like a burning smell in here. But again, would not surprise me with this building if it is on fire. But
is it cool on your side of it? You feel in it?
Do you feel that?
No, I don't feel anything.
No, I
feel heat.
Unless it's just me having like a heat stroke at this point in time. But yeah, it does feel like it's getting colder. But anyways, besides what's happening here at the KRAE studios, do want to, at least as we spent again a good majority of that first hour on high school
teams.
We will focus at least with the Cowboys, but do want to mention at least
our county teams
outside of the city of Cheyenne in Laramie County, going down the Class 2A with Burns Bronx, who are number 4 at this point in time of at least last Friday. They had a meeting with Moorcroft, where
Moorcroft Eagles, as they win. And again, that's a long road trip. So, for the Bronx, I don't know if we say that's one that got away from them.
I would say so.
But, that can't win every game at home. That's the way I got to look at it. You got to pick up some road wins.
Yeah,
now I smell it. Yeah.
Yeah. You smell it now.
I smell the burn.
Yeah. Anyways, though, again, more. Again, he can only hope so with this building, but more.
I got way too much stuff in here, dude.
Yeah, well, I do too. I got all these jerseys to protect, and that to be the saving grace. But anyways, again, Moorcraft does get the victory, 38-32. Looking at Pine Bluffs, where they start the season 0-2.
Yeah, they went up to Wright, take on the Panthers.
Wright got the upset win in everyone's mind. Where Pine Bluffs, at least, if you had to choose, were kind of the overwhelming favorite in that contest, even on the road. But Pine Bluffs, they're struggling so far. Again, losing to Wright 25-7 in Class 1A 11-man football. Again, the Hornets, they're far removed of where the back-to-back championships.
Well, again, 6 turnovers and allowing a kickoff return for a TD.
Yeah,
not going to get the job done. And Coach Gray not too happy with that. As he said, Wright played better than them.
Yeah,
I mean that's plain and simple, and
that's your whole coach adage right there.
Yeah, and he's going to take the kids out today to practice. They're going to refocus, regroup, and hopefully come together as a team. And I think that's what they need to do. It's early. Luckily for these two teams, it's early. Now for the Bronx, it does get easier. They got the Buffalo Bison this weekend. That's not going to be an easy chore.
Yeah.
The only good news is they're at home. Buffalo's got to make that long road trip down.
We'll see. Again, that's just kind of the updates, at least for the Laramie County teams. Again, Burns losing, and also, too, with Pine Bluffs losing. Burns 1-1 on the season. Pine Bluffs, they're 0-2 after their 2 losses, again, on the road for the Hornets. But outside of the high school, as we'll end that there, again, do want to remind folks, again, we will have South versus East coming up this Friday. Again, 6 o'clock start time there at Fighting Bison Stadium. 5:30 tentative pregame show here on 1480 KRAE, again, 101.1 FM, 1480KRAE.com to listen audio-wise. Video, again, hopefully when we got the parts on the way due to the post office delay in the package. I can't tell if we got the problem fixed yet, but hopefully we will be able to video live stream on Periscope and the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel. Again, as we were unable to this past Friday due to technical difficulties with our camera, at least equipment. So we'll see if we can get that fixed before Friday's game.
And fingers crossed that that's what you surmised is the problem. And
can only hope so. Again, all it is just trial and error at this point in time. But again, outside of the high schools, we now move up a level to the collegiate side of things. Game you weren't at, but I intended. Again, I had to attend.
I had other commitments, and that was my baseball league. And but I listened to it. A good majority of the ball game on the way home. To me. And I asked you this question, and I'm not being funny about this question. I felt that there had to be some boo birds at this ball game. 28,000 fans, great crowd. Tip of the cap to I think Cowboy fans because they're winning.
Around 54,000 in total for the past 2 home games, which is the largest in Wyoming history. For the first 2 games to start out a season, again, for the Wyoming Cowboy program in 70 years, as they were giving away the replicas of the War Memorial Stadium. In the 70-year history, it's the largest back-to-back crowds in UW history. So good on you, Cowboy fans, for at least getting out there and packing things. Looking forward to seeing if you'll show up for UNLV, that whiteout game, in about 2 weeks from now, as they got to make a trip down to Tulsa beforehand.
So let me ask you, and again, too, I'm sorry, gang, I was calling the plays before they were being set in motion.
Again, Wyoming's offense is the most predictable thing.
It was so predictable again. But let me ask you this question. Even though they got beaten by Penn State 77-0, was this Idaho Vandal team that good?
Well, Idaho got beat 79-7, so again, they were able to put up points. They didn't get shut out.
Well, but you know what
But
I mean.
either way, though, again,
my point is, though, were they that good?
Wyoming made them look good. Yeah, again,
like they did with Wofford last year?
I think without a doubt. But for the Wyoming Cowboys in this contest, they made Idaho look like an FBS team. It looked like an Idaho team that should be back in the FBS, whether it's the Sun Belt, whether it's an independent team. It looks like a team that made a mistake moving down to the Big Sky Conference and playing in that lower level, without a doubt. Idaho should have won that game, without a doubt, in my opinion. Idaho had a shot there at the fourth quarter to get it done. They were pushing, at least on that Wyoming side of things, and then the drive just kind of stalled out. But Again, Idaho that got out early, again, led that contest 10-0 before the Cowboys got back. And then,
again, another slow start by the Cowboys. So
Cowboys put up 14 points in the second quarter.
It's almost like they warm up, all right, and then they go inside, whether it's into the altitude center, and then they come back out, and then they forget why they're coming out to play.
Well, Cowboys, get this out of your system because you're not going to get away with it when you're taking on Boise, Air Force, Utah State. They're not going to allow that slow start.
By the way, did I call the Air Force win?
Good on you. Again, I
told you Air Force is a better team, but
I told you that Idaho would be competitive in this game.
You did, and you're absolutely right. And again, I'll give you your due. You give me my due on Air Force. But the point is, you can't. I mean, the Cowboys played down to their competition. Now again,
Idaho looked like the better team, to be honest. Again, even on the defensive side, the issue right now. Offense for the Wyoming Cowboys, it's predictable, it's slow, it's one-dimensional, it's pathetic, without a doubt.
And again, you have these great runs. Trey Smith's 80-yard run. Boy, you want to talk about a shot in the arm. They needed that there.
Yeah, but those are those flash-in-the-pan plays that you can't rely on.
It was a one play, that went 80 yards. But
you're not getting away with that against Utah State, Air Force, some of these defenses that are going to slow down.
You might be tested at Tulsa, Oklahoma this weekend. Who knows?
Again, a team out of the American Conference that has done well for themselves.
But again, Brent Vegan's offense is living on the edge right now. It is dangling. It's like dangling a carrot in front of everybody. Say, hey, come on and get us. The passing game. Again, the Cowboys can't be one-dimensional. They're not that good running the ball. They get a breakaway like Trey Smith, but other than that, they didn't have that great of a day rushing.
Again, offense, as you compare the two for the Idaho Vandals, 50-yard passing for Sean Chambers. Again, not surprising there. For the combined efforts between Petrino and Lee for the Idaho Vandals, 210 at least total yards of passing. Running for the ball, it was 93 yards for Idaho, 237 for the Cowboys. But you combine those efforts, again, Idaho came away with more yardage offensive-wise than the Wyoming Cowboys. Again, this is an Idaho team that struggled last week at the Kibbe Dome up in Moscow, Idaho, against a Division II opponent. They still got the win, but they still struggled against Central Washington. And you allow this at Laramie? Again, an Idaho team that has never won in Laramie had a damn near close shot to do it.
I know. I mean, it was nail-biting time towards the end. The question is, you saw the game. You saw Sean Chambers loaded up 12 times and only hit on 4 aerials.
Yeah.
Was he that rushed to throw? Because a couple times when I'm listening to the broadcast,
I mean, Idaho on both sides of the ball for those lines, they got some beefy guys.
I understand it, but
and they were
pressuring Chambers that much?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Without a doubt. And again, you saw Sean Chambers as well. Question mark on were there a few missed, at least roughing the passer calls. You saw Sean Chambers kind of ask and call for that, but never got him. Again, in my opinion, I think the rest were at least fine to kind of let that slide. It wasn't as intended, but again, for Sean Chambers, yes, he was rushed. That defense for Idaho was finding gaps through that weak offensive line that the Cowboys are sporting right now, and we're rushing Sean Chambers without a doubt.
Now let me ask you this: Mason Petrino. I mean, he looked like a superstar.
Oh yeah, Mason Petrino, again, senior for the Idaho Vandals. He's a good quarterback. He has to play on the Idaho Vandals. Obviously, he's playing for his pops, but he's got talent without a doubt. Does he have the weapons? What we're seeing, no. Pretty much.
He tried to shoulder too much of the load. That was his problem.
He tried to shoulder, but also to relying on the one target that'd be at least Cotton, where that was pretty much his favorite target. Once Wyoming keyed on that, number 88 for the Idaho Vandals. Once the Cowboys basically double teamed or put a spotlight, that pretty much put a kibosh on the Idaho Vandals, at least on the offensive side, and for one, Mason Petrino of just saying, hey, your favorite target's now no longer available. Try and do something now.
The good news: Cowboys are 3-0. They're living on the edge.
It's a big questionable 3-0.
I don't care. As Aerosmith saying, you're living on the edge. You're currently on a 7-game winning streak from last year to this year.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to balance it out, and the balance right now is not there. And I'm telling you, you're going to go up against teams that are going to be bigger, like you mentioned. They're going to be stronger. They're going to be faster, to use the terminology. Up front, linebackers are going to be active. Secondaries are going to be even better.
Oh, yeah.
as you get into Mo West play. And the Cowboys cannot get this passing game figured out.
And I don't think they will.
And again, what's going to happen, you're going to have teams not so much stuffing the box, but they're going to be able to start spying on Chambers. And it's going to be that middle linebacker. He's going to spy on Chambers or somebody on the corners. And, yeah, once in a while we'll get those breakaway runs, credit to the offensive line.
But those are something you cannot rely on.
No.
You cannot depend upon it to get you out of situations
It's
in every
like
game.
in golf, getting a birdie. You don't get those all the time. You can get a par, but a birdie, that's that happens once in a while. The thing is, same thing with those touchdowns. 80-yard runs are great, but when you start seeing, again, you start breaking down film, you say, how did this guy score? Oh, this was out, we were out of whack. We were lined up wrong, or this guard made a great block. The point is, when you start focusing on just Wyoming's run and you shut that down, you don't have another outlet. And that scares me right now. The Cowboys don't have the backup outlet.
Again,
right
they're one-dimensional, without a doubt, and it is the biggest Achilles heel for Wyoming Cowboys at this point in time. And also, too, for the Cowboys, of what I saw a lot, and it's something I've mentioned week 1 against Mizzou, you saw it week 2 against Texas State, and you saw it against the Idaho Vandals, is that defense cannot wrap up. There were so many missed tackles, so many missed opportunities where, for Idaho, give credit to a lot of those, at least whether it is Pacino, whether it is some of those running backs, or even, Cotton getting some of the, yards after catch, they were breaking away from at least tackles left and right and center. It was pretty pathetic by the defense, again, tackling once again. This is the 3rd week in a row that we've had issues where, again, they're wrapping up guys, but they're not bringing them down. Now, for whatever reason, those specialists are finding ways to shake off those tacklers.
Now, taking on a Tulsa team. Tulsa allows about 187 yards rushing. So that's good for the Cowboys. Cowboys should be able to run the football effectively against the Golden Hurricane. But with that being said, when you're only averaging 82 yards a game passing, you're going to need to do a little more against the Golden Hurricane. Now, again, their record is 1-2. They have lost to Michigan State, 28-7. Michigan State's ranked in the top 20.
Not anymore, but they were.
Well, at that time they were number 18. San Jose State, they beat them 34-16, and they lost this weekend to Oklahoma State 40-21.
All right, so they've been tested out of the gates outside of San Jose State, but they've kind of gotten whipped around, and
the Cowboys' only major test, correct me if I'm wrong, has been Missouri.
Yeah,
the Bobcats were okay at Texas State, but they're not one that's going to be, vying for a great bowl at the end of the year.
No.
And same with Idaho. Idaho obviously.
Well, they can't compete.
I know, but I'm talking about in the Big Sky. They're not going to.
We'll see with the Vandals. The Vandals impressed me what they did on the road in Laramie against the Cowboys. I think Idaho, if they're able to figure out things, again, they got beef on both sides of that ball. The Vandals could make waves in the Big Sky Conference, maybe entertain to take over that, maybe up in Eastern Washington. Right. We'll see what happens. But again, going back to this win for the Cowboys, was not impressive. It is red flags all over the place of, you did that. And we found out, again, talking with Cody Tucker, again, friend of the show, 7220sports.com, that there was a line on this game. Cowboys were favored by 27 points.
Yeah. And not even close to covering.
Not even close. That's why
here's a spread already, and I might be wrong on this one. I have Tulsa's favored by 3. So basically, Tulsa's not great. They're not.
I think you're seeing an evenly matched up game.
And basically, they're given home field advantage in this contest.
And I think that's fair. You got to go off of this Wyoming team. That offense has proven nothing so far.
And the Cowboys, let's be real honest, the Cowboys have been living clean here in their last 7 victories. Been a lot of luck. That's helped them win.
A lot of lower teams to beat on as well, too.
I understand that, but Mizzou, that was a lot of luck in winning that one.
Yeah.
And then, coming from behind, winning at Texas State, and this one with Idaho, allowing Idaho not to get that lead at the end of the ball game.
They gave them every opportunity.
They are, like I said, they're living a clean life right now. But again, to offense coordinator Brent Vegan, wake up. Get the damn passing game in order here, pal, because you're going to start playing teams that are going to stop your run cold. I guarantee you.
Yeah,
and
it might be this Tulsa team. It might be.
I don't think so. I don't think Tulsa's going to be able to slow them down on the run.
Again, I say, we'll get into our picks later in the week, but right now at this point in time, Tulsa, in my opinion, probably should win that game. Tulsa, I think, will find a way to figure out things after they've been beat up here for 2 out of their 3 contests, that they got some fire in their bellies, and they're looking at, hey, this Wyoming team's very beatable. And thankfully, we don't have to go up to 72-20. They got to come to the friendly confines here in Oklahoma.
And the thing is, too, this is kind of ironic with the Cowboys. Total offense, as far as yards per game, 323 yards. They're giving up 428 yards per game. So, I mean, they're getting outgained via the air or on the ground by almost, about 105 yards. So,
again, it's an unimpressive 3-0 at this point in time for the Cowboys.
It's still 3-0.
Yeah, it's still 3-0.
And you only need 3 more wins to be bowl eligible.
Which,
so that's
again, does not mean anything in this day and age.
That's the way the world runs now, according to the NCAA.
It is a unimpressive 3-0. It is a team that is going to be beat at a point in time if it continues playing like this, whether it is against Tulsa, 2 weeks against UNLV. Once we get into Mountain West, at least play after the running reps, Wyoming's going to slip up. One team's going to take advantage of this offense that is one-dimensional. They're going to find a way to slow things down and just have their way with the Cowboys. They're going to have that wake-up moment coming up soon. Well, if they do not change it around, because you just almost had it this past Saturday in Laramie against an FCS Big Sky team, an Idaho Vandals team that I joked around, again, as much as I went to school there and I was a fan, I was wearing my Idaho gear at that game. It's a team you had no business keeping in. It's a team that had no business having the ball there late in the fourth quarter with a shot at winning that game.
And the same thing, too, I go back to last year's Wofford game. There was no business that the Cowboys had to struggle to win that thing.
Yeah.
At home. See, that's just it. At home, they struggled to beat Wofford. At home, they struggled to beat the Vandals. Teams that they should have whooped on, like you said, by 20-plus points. It concerns me. It really does. We got to take a timeout. We're going to come back with more after these words of 1480 KRAE.
Hi, this is Dr. Ruby Zubrod with Brandt Audiology and Tinnitus, reminding you to hear the sounds of nature. Plan your next hunting trip to protect your hearing from the damage that comes from the harmful muzzle blasts by using good hearing protection. Brandt Audiology and Tinnitus can help with basic custom-fit earplugs to devices that can protect your hearing while allowing speech and sound to filter through. Call us at 307-426-4327 to make an appointment today or visit our website at brandtaudiology.com.
Did you know that in rural areas of Laramie County, electricity is reliable and affordable because of High West Energy? Based in Pine Bluffs, High West Energy is an electric co-op owned by the 10,000 customers we serve, and that includes F.U. Warren Air Force Base and 20 subdivisions around Cheyenne. For more than 75 years, High West has been proud to play a part in the steady growth and economic development of this region while also contributing to local nonprofits, charities, and civic organizations.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call the Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
At Taco John's, we're blowing up your phone with great deals. Crunching. The only problem is how many there are.
Crunching, 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 crunching.
Sorry, not sorry. Craver Savers from Taco John's.
Crunching.
The best way to get more beef for your buck. Taco John's. Bigger, bolder, better.
So keep your eyes and ears open for the best Craver Savers from your local Taco John's.
For almost 60 years, 1480 KRAE has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY FM and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both KRAE and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Larry Proetti at 307-637-0301.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, mostly sunny. Expected daytime high of 82 degrees. Partly cloudy for tonight, our low down to 55. For tomorrow, Tuesday, mostly sunny. Look for a daytime high near 77 with a slight chance of showers and afternoon thunderboomers. For Tuesday night, mostly clear. Our low down to 47 degrees with a slight chance of showers and evening thunderstorms. And for Wednesday, it's going to be sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 75 degrees.
You bleed brown and gold? So do we. Wyoming Cowboys football and basketball is always front and center on this show. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's here on AM 1480 KRAE.
We're back on Wyoming Sports Talk Today. You know, one of the worst plays, I think, now in football, whether it's high school or collegiate or even the pros, and the Wyoming Cowboys, it just made me even hate the play that much more, is that fly sweep. Gosh, I'm so sick of seeing that play. It does nothing. I mean,
apparently
Ismail got a touchdown off of it, but it's not that impressive.
Well, there you go. That's what's going to keep them using that ridiculous play of, hey, at least it's paying off in some sort of dividend. But again, Wyoming offense, anticipate more of that, anticipate more dives up the middle. It's a team that is just so
Let me ask you this, because we started hearing it in the Mizzou game, especially on those first 2 surgically mastered drives by Missouri when UW went down, and you started to hear the boos.
Yeah.
Because we had the window open, and we were sitting there in press row. How was the mood of the crowd? They had to be shocked on Saturday.
Yeah, it was quiet, without a doubt, throughout, again, I think majority of that game, other than some kind of clutch moments there of, hey, let's get pumped up for third down. It was pretty much of, hey, once it said, hey, make some noise on the board, that's what woke up that crowd. But for a majority of it, it was a stunned audience of going, what are we watching right now? How is this happening? How is this Idaho team up 10-0? How do we just see that Cooper Roth misses 2 field goals? Mr. Old Reliable missing 2 of them.
I know, money in the bank, and that's one of those weird things that happens once in a while.
So, but it was a situation that boos did come out. It was not as loud. I think fans, if anything, just to kind of speak for them, it's a situation that what's there to boo when you know what to expect? This is what you're accustomed to at this point in time. They're doing as you expect. There's no need to boo it. But I think the overwhelming mood at that game was relief and also, too, of just stunned, at least being stunned and shocked of just watching of what did we just witness? How is this possible? How is it that we just escaped a close win against an Idaho team out of the FCS? A Big Sky team like Wofford. Well, Idaho's even below Wofford at this point in time. Idaho hasn't even made it to an FCS playoff game yet.
There is a possibility, Nick, and I know you're going to laugh or scoff at me, but there is a possibility this team could be 5-0 by the time they reach the bye week on October 5th.
Tulsa's a toss-up, absolutely. And again, UNLV is nothing too great.
Yeah, they got UNLV on the 28th, so the month of September could be very, very good for the Wyoming Cowboys. But again, if they could limp, I don't want to say limp, they could scratch their way into the bye week, they could be 5-0. And then, of course, then the schedule gets tough. I mean, you go to San Diego State, but you get New Mexico the next weekend. So you might be by October 19th, and this it'll make me look stupid because I said they would be about a 5-7 team. They could be by New Mexico bowl eligible.
I think without a doubt. I think that's a good, at least, possibility. It's just showing that, the schedule was very fair, or it's definitely a weak schedule.
Well, the Missouri win,
the Mizzou win was
changed
quality,
everything.
Was
it
quality.
Changed everything.
Yeah, without a doubt. But again, outside of that Missouri win, you had faith, or at least, hey, entertain the thought that, okay, Wyoming's not as bad as we thought they are.
And they could go to Texas. They could go down to San Marcos and possibly win. And they did.
But again, but outside that Mizzou game that they won, which, again, had no business winning that game, but they still did. And they, again, sit at 3-0 at this point in time. Wyoming, you look at the rest of that schedule, at least that outside of Missouri, again, Texas State, not a daunting opponent. Idaho, clearly not.
Tulsa,
fair. It's on the same vein, but you can still beat them. It's not like taking on Oklahoma State or, again, a Michigan State that Tulsa's faced against.
And your first Mountain West Conference game is against UNLV that hasn't been relevant in years.
Yeah, whoop-de-doo. You look outside of those games, it's pretty much a light schedule. It's pretty of a cupcake schedule out of the blocks for the Wyoming Cowboys.
Like I said, they, and not even, again, we all had penciled in Mizzou as a loss. And then we said, well, it could be a toss-up at Texas State. We figured they would beat Idaho. We said,
technically, again, Wyoming versus Idaho, it was a toss-up.
But we said, no, it's not going to be. It was not going to be a win at Tulsa. And UNLV, you should win. You should win at home. You should. This team should be, by the time they got to the bye week, at least 2-3. Now we got to backpedal and say this team could be 5-0. If they beat Tulsa, they'll be 5-0 at the bye week.
But it's a 5-0 where we'll see what happens.
You could taint it all you want. Yeah. You could taint it all you want, but
I'm not tainting it. I'm just going off of what you see, and also too, that's going to go into the Mountain West Conference. That's going to go into, again, if they do become bowl eligible, it's going to go up to those bowl committees and going. It's not that impressive of a 5-0 start that they had.
I know.
Outside of the Mizzou quality win, who'd you beat? You beat no one.
But you're 3-0. That's all that matters, and that's for fans.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
And if they beat Tulsa, and if they can come through and win in Oklahoma this weekend, that UNLV game, we had 28,000. You bet your bottom dollar you're going to see the crowd similar to that coming up on the Saturday here.
And again, that UNLV game is also to that Military Appreciation Day. Mm-hmm. All those ticket sales, or at least
Energy Day, Family Weekend. There's all kinds of things going on.
Yeah, again, with that Military Appreciation Day, the stipulation with that was if you buy tickets, you can purchase more, at least to get military families in for free to that game.
Nice.
So I do believe that's still going on. So, yes, a big celebration. It's wide out as well, too, for that UNLV game. So a lot of things happening, at least in 2 weeks there in Laramie, Wyoming. But still, they need to focus on Tulsa going out to Oklahoma. And if they can beat that Golden Hurricane team, again, who is favored at this point in time by 3 points.
All right, let's go to the Mountain West Conference. If you missed out over the weekend, Friday night, it was Notre Dame and New Mexico. And
no surprise here.
The Fighting Irish just punished the Lobos.
Yeah, no surprise.
Yeah,
didn't expect anything
South
else.
Bend too, by the way.
I'm surprised New Mexico put up 14 points.
I'm sorry, that was Saturday. It was 66-14.
Yeah, all Mountain West games this weekend were Saturday games.
I'm looking at this week's schedule.
Yeah, we'll have a Friday game this week, and that's Mountain West play. But again, New Mexico, surprised that they even put up 14 points against the Fighting Irish, but 16-14 or 66-14, no surprise.
Now, see,
New Mexico had no business.
Now, here's the difference between Boise State and Wyoming. Boise State is expected to clobber Portland State.
And they did.
Yeah. 45-10. Wyoming was expected to clobber Idaho, and they didn't, according to the point spread.
Yeah, 27-point favor for the Cowboys and barely can muster up 5-point victory against the Vandals. But Boise State at home, they are now 22nd in the nation, ranked after their victory against the Vikings against Portland State at least in Boise, Idaho. Yes, 45-10. Boise State, the Bronx, no surprise, getting it done, continuing at least to be undefeated as well, too, in the Mountain West.
Yeah, and again, you got to keep your eye on this Hank Backmeyer. He's pretty good. Another good quarterback there at Boise State. He was 16 of 25, 238, 2 touchdowns in the win.
And again, Portland State also, too, is an FCS Big Sky team, so that's kind of the difference, or at least kind of putting that parallel between Wyoming and Boise.
Here's what happens as the Rainbows come off the islands. They're mortal. And Washington,
but again, you
put
go
a serious hurting to them.
Back-to-back, 3 straight games against Pac-12 opponents, going away from Hawaii. Now you're taking on a top 25 opponent. Hawaii, you knew that streak of luck against Pac-12 was going to end.
I expected this one to be a blowout, which it was. The Huskies win 52-20. Overtime.
I still think Hawaii has talent and a team that can still make a bowl this year.
Well, they're
cannot deny
they'll get their own bowl at Aloha State.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Bowl.
Yeah, they'll get that. But again, Hawaii still has talent.
Hawaii is going to get their 6 wins, and they get to stay at home. Overtime in Boulder, and the Air Force Falcons did it.
This was a game that I tossed up, and we debated along, and I just went off of Colorado of what they did against Nebraska at home. I figured they'd have some sort of momentum, but now this gives me true respect to Air Force of saying, yes, you are a quality team in the Mountain West, that Wyoming, New Mexico, Boise, Utah State, everyone in that Mountain Division has to look out for the Falcons, without a doubt now. It solidifies that, yes, the Falcons are for real.
You know, where we have Trey Smith busting, for big yards, you got to watch out for one Caden Remsburg. He was 23 attempts, 146 yards, and a touchdown in that contest. So in his stats thus far, and I'm just bringing them up here, for the Air Force wins, 32 rushes, 208 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's averaging 6.5 yards per contest.
Not bad.
No, it's pretty
Again,
good.
for an Air Force team that just loves to run, it's going to be the battle. As much as we kid this past Friday between Kelly Walsh and Cheyenne South, of 2 teams that love to run and kill clock off, at least kill time off that clock, it's going to be fun to watch Air Force down in, at least there in Falcon Stadium in Colorado Springs on the Academy, take on the Wyoming Cowboys, where that game should fly by.
Now, a team that likes to make their living on the run, they're not a great passing team, UNLV, but no surprise here, Northwestern wins at home 30-14. I think
they gave their best effort against at least that team up in Evanston.
Charles Williams, I think he had 16 rushes for 144 yards. So, again, that's how they make their living. They are a running team.
I was not anticipating that of 30-14 of how close it was. The Wildcats getting the win, again, in Evanston, Illinois, but give credit to UNLV keeping it somewhat competitive. I figured it'd be Northwestern by a larger margin than that.
Well, this one shocked me because as I was listening, going back and forth on the way home, CSU was only down by 3 at halftime.
They had a shot.
Down 27-24. And, I mean, they basically laid a fourth quarter egg. We saw that last year when we were down watching them play in the fourth quarter at Canvas Stadium.
Again, home and home with this Arkansas team where they still have struggles against the Razorbacks.
So the Razorbacks wins 55-34. However, name to remember, another one of these good running backs. And every school's got a good running back. Marvin Kinsey. He had 20 rushes for 180 yards and a score. So, again, where we get an 80-yard run, they can run 50, 60 yards, too, for touchdowns.
Well, and the big thing as well, too, out of this game is that one Colin Hill did get injured in that contest. It's not looking good that he might not return for quite some time. So, again, the starting quarterback for the Rams, again, the guy who Rams fans kind of put the weight of at least the world on his shoulders, is now no longer – he's not anticipated to play for a good while. Let's just say that. We'll see.
And the backup is Patrick O'Brien. He's a 6'5", 244-pounder from San Juan Capistrano, California. He's a junior. So he got some tosses in the loss. But, yeah, Hill, don't know the status on him right now.
Yeah, again, indications are showing that he might miss a few weeks, if not the year. But kind of look into it of what's at least the diagnostic, or at least diagnosis for this entire, at least upcoming days for him.
All right, other games that happened in the Mo West.
Well, you got 2 more remaining.
Yeah, well, the 2 other games here. Nevada beat Weber State.
Weber State's a good team.
No, I'm not going to take anything away from Weber State, but it's telling me that Nevada is not as good as we thought they were. Or they had a struggle game similar to the Cowboys. And
they might have played down to Weber State, but also, too, Weber State's a good team. Weber State,
I'm not
out of the Big
I'm
Sky.
not dissing on them. I'm just saying.
You're trying to at this
I'm
point
just
in
saying
time.
Nevada's not all that good. They're okay. They're okay.
Again, if you want to use your terminology, hey, a win's a win, and Nevada's 2-1 right now, at least in non-conference play. Again, taking on Weber State. So, and in Reno, you would anticipate that Nevada should have won pretty handily, but it's the same vein as Wyoming versus Idaho. You had two Mountain West opponents that got the victories, but it was in close fashions against Big Sky opponents. Granted, for Nevada, they took on an upper echelon Big Sky team compared to what Idaho is in that conference.
And late night in Las Cruces, it was the Aztecs, no problems with New Mexico State.
Yeah, the Aggies, they have no business being in FBS.
Yeah, so San Diego State improves to 3-0, and the Aggies dropped 0-3. The Aztecs win 31-10. Got to take a timeout here. And we will be back with more after this on 1480 KRAE.
Have you talked to your kids about vaping? Most e-cigarettes and vaping devices still contain nicotine, which can harm adolescent brain development. The flavors and chemicals in e-cigarettes and vaping devices may also contain formaldehyde and weed killer, and can also cause headaches, nausea, lung and heart disease, plus damage to your liver, kidneys, nervous system, and can lead to cancer. Don't be fooled. This message is brought to you by the Wyoming Institute of Population Health.
You can actually get something good for your health at a drive-through window. When you order your next prescription from Medicap Pharmacy, call ahead and use our drive-through window. Or you can call for free delivery. You can even log on to Medicap.com and order a prescription refill. Your Medicap pharmacist will call you to make arrangements for pickup or delivery.
Medicap Pharmacy will always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
First Tier Bank is proud to team up again with the Wyoming chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. You're invited to join and participate in the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer event on Saturday, September 28th. Registration begins at 10:30 in the morning at Lions Park at the South Picnic Shelter. For more information, contact Janet Lewis at 307-287-6569 or go online to alz.org/walk to learn more. We'll see you Saturday, September 28th at Lions Park for the Walk to End Alzheimer's, brought to you by the Wyoming chapter of the Alzheimer's Association and First Tier Bank, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
At Platte Valley Bank, we love to see our customers come through the door. Well, we know life can be busy and you don't always have time to come to the bank. That's why we offer user-friendly online and mobile banking products with features such as bill pay, recurring transfers, mobile deposit, and now digital wallet. At Platte Valley Bank, you can manage your money how you want, when you want. Whether you prefer to bank in person, over the phone, or online, Platte Valley Bank makes it easy to take care of your finances.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Capital Lumber is number one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. And we're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is number one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service all the way.
Capital Lumber Company, serving our area for over 53 years at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne. The team at Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Del Range, directly across from Powers Field and Menards, are proud sponsors of the student athletes for the 2019-2020 school year for high school and LCCC. Not only do they support the athletes, but they are ready for your next cater-out event, meeting, or gathering. A special thank you to Chick-fil-A and all they do for 1480 KRAE and our sister station KYOI-FM during the year. For more information, call Chick-fil-A at 638-4444.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, mostly sunny, expected daytime high of 82 degrees. Partly cloudy for tonight, our low down to 55. For tomorrow, Tuesday, mostly sunny. Look for a daytime high near 77 with a slight chance of showers and afternoon thunderboomers. For Tuesday night, mostly clear, our low down to 47 degrees with a slight chance of showers and evening thunderstorms. And for Wednesday, it's going to be sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 75 degrees.
Fat, lazy, and stupid is no way to conduct a sports talk radio show. We've thrown down the gauntlet, upped the stakes, and made it clear that when it comes to sports talk radio in Cheyenne, there's a new player in town. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's only here on AM 14.
I know we're not really going to get to talk much about the NFL. All we can tell you is that the Broncos blew it yesterday and lose at Empower Field at Mile High Stadium. We'll have more on that loss to the Bears. Coming up this evening, as we will welcome a couple new programs called Fort Laramie. Again, radio serials from yesteryear in our Golden Age of Radio Theater. They will air from 8 until 9, which will follow up with Suspense Theater from 9 until 10. So, again, I don't know how many of the Fort Laramie episodes
I didn't count them, but it's not going to be as long as what Sherlock or Suspense was.
Well, we'll probably have them for about
but it's
a month,
something new.
About a month it'll be in there. So, again, Fort Laramie, that is the new programs headed your way for this evening. Going back to college football, and we'll keep it on the college football top 25 scene.
Had a few upsets over the weekend.
And again, you get into the top 25. It's hard enough to get into the top 25, and then you get in there, and then you're beaten. Temple defeats Maryland 20-17.
Maryland obviously heading into that one, they were number 21. Maryland traveling to Philadelphia to see the Temple Owls. Again, the Terrapins, not all that impressive. So
somebody thought they were that good up to the number 21 spot. And then, of course, the big, I don't know if you want to call it upset. I'm not all that sold on them. And that's USC. Same thing with UCLA. I told you, UCLA, for some reason, the SoCal teams, UCLA and USC, are not the powerhouses they once were.
No, and they're not going to be.
BYU beat them in Provo.
Well, I'll give credit to the Cougars where they've kind of been impressive so far. They sit at 2-1, where I think BYU's lone loss, as I quickly look at it right now, again, their lone loss was against that Utah squad in week 1. Again, Utah Utes, who a lot of people are saying that could be in that college, at least football playoff. So, to BYU's credit, it's a decent team. And taking down at least USC at home, no surprise. The Trojans, we know that they're not for real. Pac-12 right now, not a strong conference outside of possibly Washington State, those two teams. But, again, if anything, it's more so of that BYU now gets more respect out of me than it is USC is just that bad. I think BYU's proving that, yes, it's a good football program.
So we look at our picks over the weekend. And
you haven't even talked about a few others as well.
The other one,
Iowa sneaking away at Ames.
Yeah, they got that 18
after a lengthy weather delay out there at Ames, Iowa. Looking at a few other interesting notes. Penn State at Happy Valley, struggling against Pittsburgh. They got the win 17-10. So interesting situation there. Washington State still continues, but kind of sneaks away a close one in the Texas kickoff. That was on Friday, 31-24, but at least Cougars out of Pullman, Washington, continue to win. So that's just kind of interesting notes out of the top 25. Something that surprised you, Central Florida winning over Stanford. Granted, Stanford had to travel to Central Florida. Again, the Knights are pretty good.
No,
they've not missed a beat since Scott Frost moved to Nebraska.
Again, the team that's going to be the one that you watch out for in the Pac-12 is the Utah Utes.
Oh, yeah.
I got a feeling they'll be cracking that top 10 pretty doggone quick.
And they had no issue with the Idaho State Bengals, so they won that contest 31-10. Again, Utah, at least as of last week, was number 11th ranked. Again, this is a Utah team that is anticipated to crack into that college national at least that football playoff. And I think they have a good possibility. Something we talked about looking at their schedule. Their schedule's relatively easy.
Yeah.
It's relatively easy to get that route and go undefeated.
And like I said, you go back to UCLA, they got clobbered by Oklahoma 48-14. Ohio State punishes Indiana 51-10. LSU 65, Northwestern State 14. Georgia blanks Arkansas State 55-zip. Alabama, no problems with South Carolina 47-23. Number 1, Clemson, easy over the Syracuse Orangemen 41-6. All right, weekly picks. I guess I'm one better than you this weekend. I went 3-2. You went 2-3. I won Air Force. You went Colorado. Let's see. We both lost at Iowa.
Yeah,
because we took the 2.5 points. We felt that the Hawkeyes
they got close, but it was just
you won Idaho with the 27-point favorite, and I took Wyoming, so I thought they were going to cover the spread. The Vikings in Green Bay. I took the Packers, who will, I do believe they face off with the Broncos next week.
Probably.
I think it is. I know the Bears and the Niners. Excuse me, the Bills. Bills, the Buffalo Bills and the Niners next week.
No, how about it's the Steelers versus the 49ers?
Are you sure?
I do believe so. That is the matchup because especially with the big news coming out of Steel Cap. Again, we'll talk about that more as we're kind of lacking on time.
Anyway,
but yes, I am correct. Yes, the Steelers travel to Santa Clara. The Steelers will be at Santa Clara.
Maybe Buffalo's got the Broncos. I don't know. I'm so confused on all this.
I was going to say, I know you're wrong on the 49ers. Because
anyway, Kansas City, we both had Kansas City defeating.
Yeah, that was easy. Again, once Patrick Mahomes figured out things, was he
a magician in the fourth quarter?
touchdowns, yeah.
Holy Toledo. All right, we got to wrap things up here.